Hey everybody, I just wanted to do a quick video on tools, and really for the beginner woodworker it can be very daunting when you see YouTube and Instagram and you see some of these top woodworkers and they have shops just full of every tool you can imagine. Well, you don't have to start out that way. You don't need to spend $20,000 worth of tools to get started with your woodworking. And I guarantee many of those makers and those craftsmen, they didn't start off with all those tools as well. I know several that, they started off just like this in a garage, and they've worked their way up to where they are now with many, many, many tools. So my suggestion would be, depending on what you want to build, buy the tool that you need for that project. And each time you do another project, if you need a specific tool for that project, then buy that tool. And buy the best tool that you can afford. Notice I didn't say the best tool available. You may not be able to afford that, or maybe it may not make any sense to buy a $5,000 table saw when you can buy a $500 table saw that will do the exact same thing. It may not have all the bells and whistles as some of the more expensive tools, but it will do the trick for you. Do your research. YouTube is fantastic to look at tool reviews. I always look at Amazon, I look at YouTube. I get opinions from other people before I spend a lot of money on a tool, or even not a lot of money, because I want to buy quality, but at the same time, I don't want to overspend. So really this video, the reason I did it is I just purchased a trim square. I just wanted a kind of a beater square for the shop, but I wanted something nice that was accurate. And I've been looking at some of the other brands out there for this particular size, and there's a lot of companies. I'm not trying to trash any other companies. There's some fantastic tools, fantastic companies that make just some excellent straight edges and squares. However, a lot of them are extremely expensive. I've seen this exact, well, not exact, but this, in essence, this square, I've seen it as high as $60, $70 with another manufacturer. And this may not have all the little features of that particular square. However, for what I need it for, and most likely what a beginning woodworker needs it for, is to draw a straight line, right? And maybe use the angle guide on it. Possibly use the offset for doing a mortise and tenon or something like that. But this costs $11. Okay, it's aluminum, very well made. It has a lot of features that I will use, and it was $11 versus $60 or $70. To me, that makes sense, especially if you're a beginner on a budget. You don't need to overspend. I will point out a few things you want to look for with a square, compared to some of the other squares. For example, this square I've had for many, many years. It's a Japanese square. However, one of the problems I've had with this square, not problems, but I can't use it for certain things, because if you notice, the measurement on it does not start here where the offset is. It starts down here, which would be great if I'm measuring something like this. Okay, that's great. But if I'm measuring something like this, I want to draw straight edge and maybe make a measurement mark. I can't do that with this because I can if I want to, subtract the 1/4 inch that it's offset. So look for something, look for that when you're buying a square. You'll run into the same problem with your combination squares. They don't start at 0. You have to remember, if you want 3 inches on your combination square, well, you're going to set it to, one of the increments here, and you need to count off from that 3 inches, not from here. So just something to remember when you're using your squares or buying a square. So the reason I like this square is it does, when I need it small, just for small parts and stuff. It does have the offset, flange for when you're doing wood for dados and whatnot. You have 2 different sizes. two different size offsets. So if I want to draw a line, boom. If I want to center in this particular size material, I can draw a center line. Sorry, I'm trying to draw with, not seeing it, but you get the idea. It has that capability. It also allows you to go around the edge. So I'm drawing my line. I have a line here. I can also carry it around the edge, which is very helpful when you're sawing. Okay, that's a good feature to have with the square. It has your angle marks, so if you want to draw angles, of course you have your 45, and this is very accurate. I've checked it with a machinist square that I have that I bought many years ago on sale, a set of 3 of these, and they were expensive at the time. I thought it was a good purchase. Looking back, I could have spent less money or way less money just for something like this, because I rarely use these. I use a 1, 2, 3 block. I use stuff like this. So, but to check the squareness on this, it's dead on. This is a dead on square. $11 dead on. Okay. So just want to throw that out there. You don't have to spend a ton of money to get good tools. Just do your research. Look for something that's quality. There's a lot of quality tools that are inexpensive and will allow you to purchase more tools so you can enjoy your woodworking. This is an essential in the shop. You need to have straight edges, squares. You'll use them all the time. Setting up tools, marking wood, you name it. Very handy.